non-conformity. Which is okay. Nobody's as excited about it as I am, but I was like, wow, what?
We're all non-conformity.
I guess so, but not really. Wait a minute, not really. Let's talk about non-conformity. So, yes, trying to, be a challenge to established, institutionalized ways of being is a way of thinking about it. And the interesting thing about being a nonconformist is it's not about trying to do something, and it's not about putting something on top of who you already are. And when I was thinking about this, I thought, oh my God, when I was in my 20s, I would really try to be crazy and different and wacky and odd and weird. And yeah, that was my own sort of version of being a nonconformist. Now here's the insight I had. I didn't know that then. I just thought about this today. I was like, oh, you know what? The spirit of it was correct. Absolutely. Already there was the seed for being something different. But because I had low self-esteem and I was insecure and I didn't know who I was, it's all good. But it was coming out in ways that were not, fully flowing from who I really am. As I've gotten older and gotten to know myself, now I've realized that's everything that I am is a nonconformist. Really, civil disobedience is what I teach. And you know what? Something else I realized, you are all nonconformists. Every person on this planet is a nonconformist. Your internal spirit, the DNA of who you are, is a nonconformist. Except you, like everybody else, eats the same things that everybody eats, listens to the same music, watches the same programming, reads the same books, does everything else that is being told that we must do, and you disconnect from that part that trailblazing nonconformist that you are. I was talking to a friend the other day, and this happens to me a lot. People will mention somebody famous that I guess I should know, and I honestly often don't know. And they mentioned Kris Jenner. I didn't know who Kris Jenner was. And then he told me who she was, and then, oh, married to Bruce Jenner. But even that, I didn't plug it in that he's on that show, because I've never seen that show. My own personal experience with Bruce Jenner, this is a whole side story, but was watching the 1976 Olympics because he won the decathlon, and he wore those acrylic short shorts, and I was like this, looking at his package, And then I would go to the supermarket with my mom, and my mom could not figure out why I wanted to buy 10 boxes of Wheaties with him on the cover of it. She's like, why? Okay, so
what was she like?
I'm sharing that story, but that's how I roll. So that's my association with Bruce Jenner. But I want to share with you, here's the thing. William Goldman, who wrote Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, and he also wrote The Princess Bride and other movies, he says that the single most important fact of the entire movie industry is that nobody knows anything. Eric and I have talked about this a number of times. And then he goes on to say that when people were shopping Raiders of the Lost Ark around town, every major studio in Hollywood turned it down. What's happening? Every major studio turned it down except for Paramount. Now here's what he says. Why did Paramount say yes? Because nobody knows anything. And why did all the other studios say no? Because nobody knows anything. And why did Universal, the biggest studio at that time, pass on Star Wars? He says, because nobody, not now, not ever, knows the least goddamn thing about what it is or isn't going to work at the box office. But you guys, that can be extended to our entire lives. What I want to just keep encouraging actors to be is, I had a conversation with a manager yesterday that again made me realize that it is about nonconformity. When you get a breakdown of a casting and they're telling you they're looking for a certain type, those are just adjectives. They're one-dimensional, two-dimensional at the very best adjectives of what you think somebody might look like. Your challenge is then you get up and you play ideas of what you think that person is. Listen, you can't play ideas because you actually already are all those things. You can't play sexy, you are sexy, even if you don't realize it. You can't play vulnerable, you are vulnerable, whether you realize it or not. You can't play edgy, you are edgy, whether you realize it or not. These are all qualities of being human. They're being human. That's what you are. So instead of trying to fulfill the picture of what you think they're looking for, be your best self. And the amazing thing about that is they'll respond. Even if in their mind they think they know what sexy looks like, if you come in and allow yourself to be your own sexy beast, they'll respond. Listen, people, you were not put here on this planet to conform. You were put on this planet not to tell the same stories that have already been told for the past 50 years. You are here to tell your story. Do you get that? You're here to tell your story. So stop listening to the experts who are telling you you have to have that resume, and you have to have those credits, and you have to be this, and you have to be there, and you have to be at that age, and you have to look like this, and you have to have lost 10 pounds, and you have to be... Forget about it. If an acorn and a chestnut fall side by side, one does not remain inert for the other, but both obey their own laws. Listen, we can all coexist. There's a place for you by being who you are. That's what we want to see.